box, you could sit still and you could stay in that box for 18 years.
Right.
Or you could decide to take a step out of the box, even from the past, the mini box you made, and the mini boxes and boxes.
Mm.
And some people are not going to want you in these boxes. Now, here's the thought for the day. You could stay in that box and be what that person wants, that community wants, what that collective wants.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you must move in the way that you are supposed to move. That's your source. That is what source alignment is. That even through the fire, you follow source's voice. You follow source's mission. Source is a piece of God.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking in regular human terms for this understanding.
Yeah. Welcome to the Intuitive Wellness Experiment, a sacred space for self-rebellion, intuitive remembrance, and embodied wisdom. This is a podcast for reclaiming your rhythm, trusting your intuition, and living in alignment while embodying cosmic self-sovereignty. I'm your host, Christine, aka the Cosmic Doula, guiding you through soulful conversations with changemakers and solo reflections rooted in intuitive wellness. In this season, we're gathering tools for the revolution, tools anchored in self-sovereignty, spiritual empowerment, and collective liberation. Whether you're tuning in during a personal season of creative fire or a sacred pause, may this space support you in coming home to your own rhythm, your radiance, and the power of your gifts. Take a breath, feel your body, and tune in. And being the Chironista in that transition of even how God played in your story from those 0 to 30 years, from those 30 to 51 years. And seems like now in your Chiron return cycle that you're still in and still evolving every day, it's like now I can reflect on my journey, and you reflecting on that journey is so impactful to the flower childs, to the collective. We talk about that raindrop, that ripples out into the ocean.
Yeah. A lot of people, well, I would say for the most part, when you look at astrology and you may know all your placements and you may know your past transits and you may know your future transits if you're like that.
Yeah.
But the thing about me is that you could tell me my future transits, you could tell me my past transits. I want to be clear that at the moment I did this hungry medium thing, at the moment that my parents died, at the moment this happened and that happened, I had no knowledge of any of this. And even if I did, like I take notes all the time on upcoming transits. And then I just put it away. I'm like, oh, the fact that I have a book that says astrology on it, books. I can't do the physical journals because they're all over the house. They're whatever. It's like, I use the phone, but remember to try to remember what's upcoming doesn't work for me specifically. One of the things I know that you have taught us is this concept of working the chart. And what I usually stick with is, especially now, is the time of my birth and the aspects that I have. And in that moment, I'm better in every moment. I'm better at a reflection of what has occurred, what was touching this, what was touching that, as opposed to what can I do tomorrow? Should I do a so-and-so ritual? Look how I'm doing that. So-and-so ritual. It's for me, the reflection is more powerful than what's about to happen.
Absolutely.
For me. But during that time of becoming the hungry medium, the time of I learned about my Chiron return had already passed.
Right. Exactly. And I think that speaks to the Lunar Authority too. It's like that power, that wisdom comes into the following the moon. You're looking back at those 30 days from that 28-day lunar cycle because you've gone through all of the emotions. So once you get there, it's like, oh, that's the power because I can reflect back on what happened and you're able to help reflect and give what we all need, because you're the manifester has the idea, right? The generator actually does it. The projector says, okay, this is the right system, this is the right timeline, to do it. But the reflector takes all that information, like, okay, y'all, this is actually what the collective needs.
Actually what the collective needs, and to feel it, to feel it versus thinking it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
To feel it, and to feel it before I even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because we talked about the tools of the revolution. I've been doing workshops and stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But there was never an understanding of how it was conglomerated into a thematic way, like the way you came up with tools of the revolution. Especially now, that was and is apropos during this Pluto in Aquarius time we will be in until at least until I don't know how many more years. Um,
Mm-hmm. A
but
generation.
a generation. But what I also wanted to talk about in this whole thing, it's important that I continue to share and reflect,
Mm-hmm.
is the fact that my Chiron is 29 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also very interesting, as it doesn't
Reflective.
mean that one equals the other. Reflector doesn't equal Chiron at 29 degrees.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, I also have that added effect of being the last degree of the zodiac. So I always joke that I have been here 360 times,
Yes.
at least.
At least. At
And
least.
the reason why I frame it that way, I mean, come on, is what else is the human mind going to do but look for the synchronicities, look for the messaging
Mm-hmm.
and obvious messaging,
Mm-hmm.
and to sit and be in denial
Right.
of your gifts,
Right.
to be in denial of what the map says,
Mm-hmm.
is a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I come back, possibly,
Mm-hmm.
in that first degree, Chiron and Aries,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to truly be reborn.
Mm. Whew.
So 360, if I'm lucky, depends on how long I spent in each incarnation.
Right.
But that's a lot of times to come back, I
Mm.
think.
That is.
Could be a drop in the bucket for
Mm-hmm. I
those.
know. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who?
But I know in my human brain, I'm going to make the most of this 360 time around 360th incarnation in the human sphere.
Yeah. That's powerful. Yeah. It's just, and again, that speaks to the power of this present moment of your incarnation right now, is the education of, the wisdom of what you've reflected in the past, and the faith that you've cultivated, and how it's intertwined in all of the synchronicities, all of these things, and, the past, the ancestors, all of that, that speaks to what you bring to us right now. I was going to ask you if you could name one core tool from your chart of the revolution. I think that's what you just expressed, that 29 degree, that last, wise, very profound. And it's all about the oneness. And it's not just our experience here on earth, which is very, Aries. It's like, what am I now? My body, my, spirit, but it's the oneness of it all,
The oneness of it
and
all.
how it all intertwines.
And full circle moments. My mom was a Chiron in Aries. My father was a Chiron in Aries. It is unusual for you to have a child with the same Chiron. So I believe that has something to do with my
Wow.
last degree of Chiron and Pisces.
Yes.
I also, and it's so funny, my dad was a Pisces, my mom was a Cancer, but we
Mm-hmm.
feel like she was a Aries rising. But in all that said and done, you talk about reflections and strategies. I think if I did any reflection on how I manage myself when I remember,
Yeah.
is through that reflector strategy of the cycle, the
Mhm.
moon cycle,
Mhm.
and the 28 days.
Yeah.
I actually do it a little differently based on some advices I had from an early human design reader because, life is lifing.
Mhm.
And sometimes you can't wait 28 days to make a decision or decide how to move, especially somebody
Very
like
well.
me, a Gemini, ready
Right.
to
Quick
jump,
thinking.
baby.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Crisscross to make it jump, jump.
Right. Just got to,
You got jump,
you gotta
jump.
jump with it. I'm on to the
Gotta
next one.
you gotta jump. So you know
I
that
know.
he gave me some advice that I have stuck with, especially like today, which
Yes.
has given me the signal. I don't know if you knew this when you were scheduling it, but you mentioned that. Did you know
What?
that was a moon in Gemini today?
No.
See, that's the thing. I didn't look at a book.
Mhm.
And let me see. Is that
No.
a
We just
data?
randomly picked a day. We're like next weekend.
And it's funny how you say randomly. Here's what I have reflected and
Come on
seen.
now. Mm-hmm.
There are no mistakes. People say that flippantly. There's no mistakes. There's no mistakes,
Really.
especially
Mm-hmm.
if you're flowing like you and I are flowing
Mm-hmm.
and how we have been flowing and all that you have done for me. I know for a fact that you are a guardian. And if my guardian calls me up and says, "Can we do it this day? Can we do it this day?" I can't do
Mm-hmm.
it that day. I can do it that. What day, guardian? Because I'm
Yeah.
free most of the time.
Right, right, right. Mm-hmm.
So, of course, we do it today. And of course, today is a really good time to do
Of
that.
course it is.
But what I want to say, the strategy that I didn't get to.
Right. Because it's an experiment. I'll just say this one too. Like you'll hear all this jargon, like wait for an invitation. You got to experiment with that for yourself.
For
Does it
yes,
feel true for you and your body? It's a body consciousness. So if it doesn't feel good for you and your body, experiment with what does. So please share.
what does and what works for me. And I've even told you about the playing around I've done with the void
Yeah.
of course.
Yes. Yes.
Um, so,
Yes.
but
Reflecting back on that.
what'd you say?
Reflecting back on that.
Reflecting back on that, and even going back to it, trying it out.
Right. 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 Right.
But what I do is not if I have a decision, do I see what moon it is? If I'm feeling kind of want or whatever, I look to see what kind of moon it is.
Mhm.
Oh, this is why. This is why. It's basically making a decision or walking in the world that day with the energy of that particular moon. Because if I walk in the energy that this is a day of communication, I may not see the impact that the communication is having on the collective, but I don't need to see it because now back to Chiron.
Mhm.
My Chiron blessing or gift is related to helping other people with their gifts.
Yeah.
Chiron and Pisces.
Mhm.
The gift is to help other people
Mhm.
with the issue that you have, with the wound that this is the gift for all the wounds, all the chirons, is to assist others with the healing of the same kind of wound.
Yeah. And that right there is the Chironista.
That's the chironista.
So
And
much
I've
work.
seen it. I've
I'm sorry.
seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it happen with the groups.
Reflecting on that. That's a whole nother podcast. A reflection on the Chiron journey and what you've seen and what's happened between the breakout groups and the collaborations that we've
And
done.
the book,
Yes, the book. The North Node, how it's there's so many different things. So we'll have you back on the podcast when that the book and all of the Chironista work.
your book, my book.
I know, I can't wait. Thank you for that reflection and idea too. It's already manifesting as we speak. But let's talk about current projects right now. and what you're flowing into with Mrs. Cook's Vintage Vices. Shout out to Mrs. Cook's Vintage Vices, which I am adorned in right now. I
Oh,
have
thank
my
you.
lion earrings here.
Oh.
I was gonna wear my Chafari because I didn't even know what Chafari was. But I'm obsessed. One of my favorite necklaces is a Chafari necklace. But this is Mrs. Cook's Vintage Vices. This is Mrs. Cook
Oh.
Vintage Vices.
I see a bracelet.
All of my adornments are from Mrs. Cook's Vintage Vices.
Wow.
And it's been transformative for me. Your journey into Mrs. Cook's Vintage Vices because this year I'm in my second house perfection year. So it's Venus ruled, the value that I pour in myself. This is my one personal year. So it's like with this new me that's being presented
I
into this
remember you
world.
as a 9. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so having be coming into Mrs. Cook's Vintage Vices, because I really do see it as like a small shop in New York, like a bodega that you walk in and you sitting on the couch. This is what I got, baby. Let's make a deal. Like what you need, what you need, what you need. That's literally how I feel and how I see it.
Oh, I
Um,
love
and
it.
going into that shop and putting value. I was listening to something today. It's like if you give everything for free, people are not going to value that as much as it is if you invest. So learning to invest in myself, I never had any joy. I didn't know who Chafari was. I came in the thing and I'm like, I don't have a style. I don't know what a style is. I literally, it sparked something in me to create a style. You know what your style is? I had to think about it. I created my style. I started sewing and I was like, I need to learn what my style is. And so I started bringing out my sewing machine, making my own clothes, having my own core style board. This was from me just walking in and seeing like the billboard of Mrs. Cook's Business Vices and from me investing in myself. It's changed my marriage. It's
Mm.
changed my parenting. It's changed the way that I walk into a space, whether digital or physical. And so, can you just share a little bit about your current project with Mrs. Cook Vintage Vices? What inspired it and what the weaving into the bigger vision that we kind of talked about, how you see it kind of going through.
So we talked about earlier not letting anyone steal your ideas. Also, don't let people steal your joy.
Whew.
So, as a Gemini,
Mhm. Yes.
person who has changed their name 50,011 times. And that wasn't just me. My father did that. I mean, I went to a school where you had to have an African name. So I learned early on how to deal with different names. I had a different name at home. I had a different name in school. I had a different name down south. I
Mhm.
had different names all over the place, right? So my joy is, they kind of condemn Geminis. They call us flaky and flighty. But really, what we need to step into is that we are the creative culture.
Mm.
Yes, Leo. Yes, Leo. But we are the creative culture that should not feel ashamed to change our minds. You know that line, I have the right and freedom to
Mm.
change my mind?
Absolutely.
That
And
should be the Gemini
change.
motto. Change.
Hmm.
And in this year of change, while I
Hmm.
have this community that I'm love and adore, there are things in the world that are just not aligned with supporting that energy right now financially.
Hmm.
So that the vision I have for the farm is not necessarily coming into fruition within this timeline. Doesn't mean, and when I say that, doesn't mean the work isn't still being done.
Not
It
at all.
not at all. It means that the work is being done by my mentees, the people I have mentored.
Yes.
So as this person who gives you give birth to an idea,
Mhm.
I am there to cradle Middleton Cook Farms, which was an idea that came out of Clubhouse that I was inspired to do homesteading. That's how
Mhm.
it started.
Wow.
I was like, oh, I'm getting off the grid and I'm gonna get a farm. And then the spirit is like,
Wow.
oh girl, this, and we created. I had a woman who was helping me from Clubhouse. We were ideating together. We came up with the vision of this woman. Her name was Cassandra. What does Cassandra need?
Yeah.
Cassandra needs this, and it kept saying Cassandra, and now I'm into Chiron now.
Yeah.
Cassandra needs healing,
Mm.
not just a place, a retreat space where she goes and takes yoga.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I decided to move to Charleston to find land and all this other stuff, but in the meantime, I create this portal where we start to gather and talk and feel and live in integrity.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most important part for me, that we live in integrity.
Yes.
And then that created a baby.
Mm.
And that baby is being birthed by multiple Black and Indigenous women and femmes, even if they're doing it within the portal
Mm-hmm.
or not. They could be doing it, they could have left the portal
Mm-hmm.
and doing something over there.
So
And
true.
do it. I'd like to think that the farm played a part in it, even if it's within
100%.
their own family construct.
Absolutely.
How you deal with your mother wound,
Absolutely.
how you deal with your post-traumatic slave syndrome,
Mm.
all the things we've been teaching in the farm. So now, what does a tired old lady do after 2 years?
Mm.
A tired old lady, Gemini, goes on to the next project.
Right.
While the guardians, that's why I call y'all guardians for
Mm.
real, for real. Because
Mm.
y'all are guarding the farm. Y'all are guarding me,
To go
but
out and have.
y'all are guarding the farm.
Yes. Yes.
So now I'm sitting here and I'm like, I haven't really been doing the honoring too much of my patrilineal line, which is the Cookes. It's all about Charleston, all about my mom, all about Charleston, the Gullah Geechee, Gullah Geechee. And so my mother was like this bridge. Obviously, she's a Mrs. Cooke, right? She married into the name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say, okay, what do I do? What do I name this thing? Because here's what's happening at the same time, Christine, because we're keeping it real. We're keeping
Yeah.
it real, real holy feel up in here.
Absolutely.
Last year, I went into a transitional stage of leaving my spiritual home.
Mm-hmm.
And with that comes many, many things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here I was on my first psychedelic journey in 2021. I was grieving my mother through my journey, and I am learning the tools of grief through
Mm-hmm.
talking to so many people. Eventually, I choose therapy. I choose along the same journey all the things. I choose creating a farm. I choose learning about astrology. I choose all of these things I choose moving here to help me heal from grief. And now the next step of that journey is to consider what to do with a family structure that is not supportive to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Be supportive to lots of people,
Absolutely.
but it's not supportive to me anymore in my growth
Mm-hmm.
as who I'm supposed to be in this world. During this process is another form of grief.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this grief it's grief about the loss
Mm-hmm.
of a community, because you're not just losing one person, you're tapping into a whole social
Mm-hmm.
group.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like church where you see sister so
Right.
and so on Sunday and then you go about your
Mm-hmm.
business. This is ingrained. This is the family of blood and stone.
Right. Right.
There's metaphysical connections.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Yes, all me. People say, well, you decide. Yes, all me. I decide to do that.
Absolutely. Mhm.
And when I decide to do that based on all the messaging that I have, messages from God,
Mhm.
for me to step into who I am and the things we must release
Yes. Yes.
in order to go forward, there is still grief.
Of course. Yeah.
So, with my faculties,
Mm-hmm.
my makeup, my wound, my search for home again,
Mm-hmm.
I start shopping. This is back in January.
What's your Chiron in?
Pisces,
Okay. Oh, yeah, right. But
or
your
that
North
North
Node.
Node in Taurus. I start shopping. I start buying things here, there. And then I was talking about it today in the break room. I decided to use my skill sets as a natural born seller to camouflage the addiction. And I call it Mrs. Cooke's Vintage Vices. Now, Christine's laughing. What you guys may not understand is I didn't know that's why I was doing this. Why did I call it vintage vices? Because the vices are present and the vices are vintage.
Yes.
Not pointing over here to my mother's side. The vices are vintage. Because at the end of the day, you said, this is going to be deep. I hope you're ready.
I'm ready.
That you didn't know what your style was. Does this audience know your lineage and
Mhm.
what your grandmother did for a living?
Wow.
So, by me doing this, it may have seemed like the most capitalistic move that
Mm-hmm.
I could have ever made, but I did not know this was the next step. And the thing is, I asked the ancestors, am I supposed to be doing this? You think I go into any venture without
I don't.
checking with them
I know
first?
that you wouldn't. Yeah.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So, to a lot of people who want to put you into a box, you could sit still and you could stay in that box for 18 years.
Right.
Or you could decide to take a step out of the box, even from the past, the mini box you made, and the mini boxes and boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are not going to want you in these boxes. Now, here's the thought for the day. You could stay in that box and be what that person wants, that community wants, what that collective wants. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, you must move in the way that you are supposed to move. That's your source. That is what source alignment is. That even through the fire, you follow source's voice. You follow source's mission. Source is a piece of God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking in regular human terms for this understanding.
Yeah.
So that is how I came up with Vintage Vices. You have been there for that journey and you have seen how it started and how it is morphing
Woo!
into more of what I am supposed to be doing. And even at this moment of the realization that I'm covering up
Yeah.
grief, I'm covering up loneliness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, through the wound,
Yeah.
I hope that I am helping others heal from their wound.
I've seen it. I'm getting emotional right now because I just think about a couple hours ago and the power that is in the healing of the wounds from the conversations that we've been having on the platform. Not one item was sold.
No, I don't even have the store set up on Sunday.
Yes, but so much was spoken into, was shared, all the love that was shared. And we're all so scared to say love, 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 love.
Love, love, and to say love to people that you never met,
Yeah.
and love to people that ain't the same color as you.
hmm hmm And we talk about home and family and how that shows up in so many different ways, but how liberating it is to find it out for yourself and what source and where source is guiding you. That's the true liberation. It's not the box or the framework that you're told to be in because you're in this certain family or tradition. But it's liberating if you can find out from your pure heart's desire where it's leading you and find home in that space. That's real liberation to
It
me.
is one of the rare spaces outside of the farm, where I don't feel like I'm editing myself. I
Yeah.
talked about that earlier. Today was one of those days where I realized you're not editing yourself like you used to. And when we edit ourselves, it usually comes from a place of not wanting to seem a certain way or be seen as a certain way. It's the editing is your own wound
hmm
telling you to be quiet.
hmm
There's always a way to deliver things. What I found is as long as you have compassion in your heart,
mm
that
mm
takes care of the bite a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that compassion speaks to the North Node that we're living in right now and the releasing of the South Node, the editing,
Yes.
categorizing yourself so you can appear in a certain way, but
Yes.
literally leading with grace, with compassion, with understanding of the oneness of the collect, like what the collective needs in this time, led by spirit's guidance.
You know, you just said something that put up a light bulb. Remember, you were giving me the reading last week
hmm
and you were talking about, I was like, what is my challenge though? Where is the challenge in the chart? And you that Uranus in Virgo.
Mm,
Uranus in Virgo to me is the paying attention to things being perfect. And to me, right next to it is hello, Pluto.
yeah.
And Pluto's like, I'm gonna disrupt all the fucking order you put on your tongue.
Mm.
And what house is it in? The 11th.
Mhm. Wow.
The groups, the associations,
Mhm.
disruption of this order that I wanted to put everything in.
Yeah. Disruption of the order that you wanted to put everything in. And I feel like this space is kind of midwifing, like it talked about your happiness. I get to like it's raw, it's unfiltered, like you said, even in the farm, you as the founder, as the creator, have to present yourself a certain way. But the way that you express on in the shop, it's just like fun. It's like I see your inner child come out. In view is the peacock of it all. Whew. Which is really, let's at the end of the day, that where we all need to kind of go to is just find that
Absolutely.
inner child and let what is that inner child saying? What is she needing? What is she desiring?
And what was she saying before she understood this human concept of God? Again, mine is
Mm,
the one that's tied to the belief and faith in God, my Chiron womb, the belief and faith in God.
mhm.
Chiron and Pisces. It's about faith. It's about spirituality, having faith in these gifts. And before, Don Miguel Ruiz talks about this in the early parts of the Four Agreements, is that around that age of 5, 6 is when we start to realize, oh, what are they saying? Oh, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do that. Oh, before that age, a child doesn't have that. And a child believes fully in God, right? And
Mhm.
mine being in the fifth house is me returning If you really want to tap into your inner child, it is through the Chiron wound. It is through helping yourself heal from that wound. And mine is helping my inner child know she can have fun, she can have pleasure, she can have joy, she can have happiness doing what comes naturally to her, not what comes naturally to this person in that collective who don't like what you're doing, not what comes naturally to that person who doesn't like what you're doing. All that matters is what inner child, and that thought to cover the loneliness of a recent hurt
Mm-hmm.
would make some people crawl back into the womb.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I feel Spirit has done is guiding me and showing me the uh the low vibrating ways that that womb was about to get scabbed over again.
Mm-hmm.
But through the work, you know, there's that gospel song, I don't believe you brought me this far to leave me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe I came this far in 2025 with all this growth and all this knowledge for God to say, okay, there you go. Let's take you back to the womb now. Come on, little girl. Let's go back to the womb. No. And that's why it hurts so much. That's why. But the recovery is so much sweeter
Mm-hmm.
when you find that the tools for the revolution for your own self are having people like you in my life. What would I do if I didn't have people like you or Sashetta or
Mm-hmm.
Trisha King or my
Mm-hmm.
daughters
Wow.
in my life? What would I
Very deeper.
do?
Yeah. Mm. Wow.
And the whole community, all the flower children, and the outpouring of love on my birthday. What would I do without y'all? I somehow created a collective of caring individual Black and Indigenous women and femmes who poured back into me when it was at the point of depletion,
Yeah. Mm.
when the glass, the vase, the vessel was
Mm-hmm.
low,
Mm-hmm.
low down
Was a
here,
very powerful time. Yeah.
sacral, because of this year,
Mm-hmm.
because of this year.
Necessary. We need this release.
So it's almost as if, here we go,
Mm-hmm.
where our bodies are so aligned and connected to what's going on without our minds knowing that our bodies created a space and created a collective of people that would be there at the ready just when you were at the very bottom,
Yeah.
who came along when it was time to lift you up out. And there's still more layers to come, but the realizations
Mm-hmm.
come like that. And sometimes the realizations are the cure.
Ooh. Realizations are the cure. That reflection, going back, those aha moments. But you got to do something with it. You can't just sit on it. You got to act on it.
And I'm so glad to hear that things like sewing occurred to you when that's what your grandmother was known for, famous for.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually now my aunt is in Jersey from Panama,
Mm.
transitioning my grandmother to go to Panama with her to, spend the rest of her life there. And as she's there, guess what she found? And she said she's given to me my grandma's sewing machine. And so to see again all of this come full circle into where I am now, I feel so full. We talked about that today. It's like I got the lesson, it's like, how can I invest that energy into different ways? And that's through sewing, gifting, and, you know, all of these different things. So it initiated from the grief that you were having, but you took action and you're taking action through the strategic strategy that we talked about,
And through my Mars in Libra
through your Mars in Libra.
in the 12th
To,
house.
in the 12th house. Yes. To find the way to live out that gift, to live out that, yeah, the Pisces. Because again, what you're doing there is like literally that. So many people have speaking about how that simple word, how that signed card has affected and shifted. And again,
Yeah.
living your channeled wisdom through.
And for me, it was just like I got to give something away. Here, let me just. And it took me a long time to decide which cards because I have grown up with these cards and decided I'm not going to give y'all some cards I order off of Amazon. Y'all going to get cards that no longer serve me, but had deep messaging early on in my life.
Absolutely. And I've been a recipient of one of those cards. And in the season that I'm in right now, this is the card that,
Oh,
it
between
is
two worlds.
between two worlds. And this is what I'm living right now, going from this dark, unclear, space of how I saw myself as this flamingo to now stepping into this crown, this beauty, this aesthetic that I've always heard from people, but I never really felt myself. But it wasn't until, and I'm not saying that this is everybody's journey, but this is my particular journey. It wasn't until I invested in myself, and my style, my aesthetic, my beauty, that I feel like I'm able to really see the beauty in me that everybody sees. I'm not even hiding it. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. Gotta hide. It's like, yeah, thank you.
You should.
How
No,
can I use this,
beautiful.
to bring more and attract in more of what my heart, and I see that naturally.
Yeah,
Without trying, I'm attracting exactly what I
yeah,
desire in
yeah.
my life, not what I thought I needed.
Not what you thought, but you are tracking it. And let me tell you something. I don't even know when you got that card, but now I know you're going to research it. And it's probably in your notions. Um, that also signifies your nodal return
Yeah, big time.
between two worlds and stepping back now into this nodal return into Pisces.
Yes.
That's amazing. Because the walk from the north south node to the north node over the span of 18 years is more dramatic than I think people realize. I just finished mine, the
Mhm.
Taurus,
So
right?
true.
Is that right?
Yeah, because Taurus was right
Oh, it
before
goes the other way. That's how come.
Scorpio. So it was the opposition. The
It was
North.
the opposition, but your nodes go the opposite way.
Mhm.
So I was like, you don't go forward, you go back. So
Right.
Taurus,
Hmm.
Aries, Pisces.
Hmm.
So I say that to say that you are experiencing that card in real time.
No doubt about it. No doubt about
Want to
it.
tell people how, or have you talked about that already? How?
No, I haven't. But I mean, I just shared. It's like the value that I'm putting in myself, the crowns that I'm putting in myself, the value that I'm putting in my third house. The card is three in my words with my Gemini, not leaving behind the way that I have to feel like I have to present. Because actually, the way that I thought I was presenting myself with the need to be perfect, the way to be a virgin, very clean, very pure, not, anything. But am I
No
losing my
jewelry.
essence? Huh?
No jewelry.
Yes. No jewelry. No,
That's what you
pure,
told me. You said I didn't have any jewelry. I was like, she doesn't mean that. Like I literally remember saying to myself, she doesn't mean
I
that.
didn't. I wore my nameplate and that's it. I had a couple of earrings and that's it. And then now to see exactly how that way of being pure, being the devoted one, I'm devoted to my mission only. I'm devoted into, my relationships only being a certain way. If we haven't hit these milestones, like, what are we doing? If I'm not getting this, like, what are we doing? I'm leaving that behind and letting spirit lead, adorn, investing in myself, in leaving again behind the way that even just like in the partnerships that I'm in, because it's my first house is Virgo, and then seventh house is Pisces. And
Same.
so in the partnerships, in the communities, in the people that
North.
I contractedly, come into alignment with. I released all that the way that I felt like I needed to show up and be a guide for them, but I'm listening into spirit. I'm just following my intuition, following spirit and what they want for me. And naturally, those aligned partnerships are coming to me in my partnerships that's coming to me again without me actually doing that toxic productivity. I need to do and be. But what if I just am? Wow, once I just am and fully in myself, I'm actually getting what I need and what I desire. Look at that. Look
Thing.
at that.
Isn't that yesterday's Deepak thing that it was already in you?
Yep, all I desire is already within me.
Something like that.
It was. It was.
I it's already in you, right? And I want to reflect on the North Node for a moment
Yeah.
because I do call it the North Star. I
Hmm.
do call it the North Star. It's nodes, but it's nodes around what? The moon. And what I love about using it as an example, let's say, sure, your son is in, these are all strategies
Right.
and tools.
Hmm.
But that North Node
Yeah,
is the true north. Like, who are you supposed to
I
be?
agree.
What is the alignment? Okay, because it is an axis, right? And it's the axis that, what is your axis between Pisces? It has a name. Pisces and Virgo has a name to
The
it.
healer access.
The
I've
healer
heard it.
axis,
I've
something
heard it
like that. I
called.
don't remember what the Taurus Scorpio is for me, but I also think it's interesting that we both have that double moon
Rising.
rising
Hmm.
in the obviously the first house, but
Hmm.
it also being your north and south node. The same for me.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Hmm.
So, and the same houses, obviously.
Yeah, that's true.
And seven. So we can learn a lot from one another. Most people say you can learn a lot from the flip flop, like Sachette
Hmm.
and I can learn a lot from each other.
Hmm.
But I also think that to learn, you can look at high vibrating Pisces, and
Oh,
I can look at, and well, I can look at high vibrating, whether it's rising or
right.
sun, high vibrating Taurians.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know any?
I know, right? We talk about that all the time. Because again, that's your DC, right? So that's what you are attracting. And yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
but yeah, it's like those are people you can look at and say, and looking at how they're living and like, oh, okay, I could use that as an example.
Hmm.
Groundedness,
Yeah.
a love of life for me, a love of life, a love of good food, a love of home, a love of Venusian things.
And
Mrs.
standing
Cleveland.
on business about what you want in your own territory, in your own space. Standing on business because of that. Yeah.
And very, they say stubborn. I need some stubbornness in my life.
Yes.
I need
Yes.
it. That'll
Because
help
there's on
ground
their
that.
values. I will not be shaken. I will not be moved on my values. I'm fixed on it.
I'm fixed on it. I'm standing on business. I know I'm being guided. So it's almost like I try to run away from ego.
Hmm. Hmm.
And a lot of people say, "Oh, you don't need ego. You absolutely need
Yeah,
ego."
absolutely. Yeah.
But it allows you to stay on task. And
Hmm.
if the task is for, I think we learned in today's mantra, is the alignment of the soul to the
Hmm.
universe and alignment, you aligning yourself with your soul.
100%.
And if that's really alignment with God.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was today's or
Hmm.
yesterday. Yeah, so that is where I see like an easy roadmap. We all have these roadmaps, but we don't really know where it's taking us. I like to use North Node as where I'm going. What that looks like, I don't know.
Right. Hmm. Yeah. And I mean, even just as you say that, what that looks like is I see it all the time. And you say that I'm aligning with that. When I think, do these higher self meditations, that's what it looks like. So invitation to do some higher self meditation, what does it look like? What are some of the things you can invite in your space? And when I was doing those things, it's kind of how I'm appearing right now,
Yeah.
and so, and how you see yourself right now. And so,
Yes.
I feel I'm not sure if this is going to be a part two or part one of what it is, but I feel like we are definitely there's so much that we reflected on and that we shared. Just in closing, if our listeners could walk away with one piece of wisdom from your journey, what would you invite them to reflect on or remember?
Uh, One word that I don't think I used in this setting, which I always use, and I'm glad that you brought it to mind, was this idea. I think everything is encompassed under the heading of authenticity.
Mm,
And what I want people to know is we lose a sense when people say, I know who I am. Also ask yourself, are you living in your authenticity? Because that, when you start to try to figure out the answer to that question, that will tell you if you are living who you're supposed to be. I also want to make sure I give this message to parents
yes.
of young children, because if I leave this earth, well, when I leave this earth,
Hmm.
one of the things I want people to remember is to always be authentic in the home and outside of the home.
Mm,
Because your children, if you care, your children, their respect measure is based on if you are the same person in the home that you are on the outside of the home. They're really like your partners could be like side eye, but the last person you want is to be side eye is an entity that you birthed, whether naturally or you adopted somehow, because it is important to the future generations, because you are the model. You are your child's model, especially speaking to Black women and femmes.
hmm.
You are your child's model.
Hmm.
And through their innocent mind, you want them to respect you.
Hmm.
It is important. It is the most important thing, our most important job as vessels, as portals, is to make sure that you are respected for your authenticity by your children. And for those of you who don't have children or haven't given birth to children, you still have a duty to your source and your inner child to be just as authentic inside your home and out.
Because she's looking at you, she's looking up to you. Hmm.
That she is.
Thank you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me I'm wondering if it's a Cancer moon now, because you said you were feeling it.
Oh my gosh, the void of
Um,
course. Let me see. Void of
spending
course. You know,
double third.
I'm always doing things and looking back to see when the void of course
Mhm.
is happening. There was none. It doesn't enter until tomorrow
Oh,
at
tomorrow.
3:05.
Yeah.
So we're still in the Gemini.
It's still in Gemini, but I feel that energy, like you said,
Of
coming in,
course.
especially, that nurturing back. And it's an invitation. And I thank you for that reflection and that ending statement of being true to your authenticity, because our children are watching, our descendants are watching. If it's your business, if you birth a business, your business is looking to you for are you living in your authenticity? And I speak on, the big kind of thing within my business and wellness space is intuitive wellness and what that looks like. And I'm switching into it, Gemini, switching the name, intuitive well-being. How are we
Mm,
being authentically? How are we being led by our intuition? So
mhm,
having our intuition allow us to be that north node, right? That compass to be our authentic selves and know our children are watching. And I'm gonna take that with me and have truthful, authentic conversations, as I go throughout the day um with my Pisces little being,
Perfect.
and actually do that. You always remind us of that, like our children are wanting, be your authentic self.
Mhm.
Top pause, do whatever you need because they're watching, and you never want to feel like your job or your gift or any of that is blocking you from actually being that pure authentic self in that role model to your children. So, and
Mhm.
however that shows up for you,
Right.
in whatever you're parenting in your life. And so
Right.
thank you so much for that reflection. Thank you so much for being my guardian and one of my greatest teachers. And reflections and reflectors. I just so appreciate you and so value you. And I'm so happy that my viewers get to tune into you and some of your wisdom and your reflections. Thank you for being so vulnerable
Thank
and
you.
speaking so authentically.
Thank you. That Mercury in Cancer is right over my I mean the Mercury in Cancer has been illuminated by Jupiter. So
Mm,
I just wanted to sit here in the expansion of this year and make sure I present all the feels, all the feels. And thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it. I was looking forward to it. And this has been one of the most relaxing podcasts that I've ever been interviewed for. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
my pleasure. Thank y'all. And all of the things we mentioned, if you want to dive into the portal that is Mrs. Cook's Vintage Vices and hear all of the magic that is there, that's being there, or just going to the Hungry Medium on YouTube, and you can enjoy and tap into the shop
Yeah,
there.
come there. You ain't got to buy nothing. Just come
You
over to
ain't
the
gotta buy
YouTube.
nothing. We have like Sunday service. What do you want to call Sunday?
Sunday
The
service,
Sunday
whatever,
music
honey.
station is so powerful. We had one today, and so I'll make sure that I link that below. And blessings to all that you're doing in this life and in this world. And thank you for being you.
Thank you.
Whew, wasn't that powerful? Beautiful. If you were with us for part one and part two, thank you for hanging in there with two Geminis chatting on a Gemini moon, reflecting back on so many things, so many things. So I hope that you were able to pick up some of the gems from the Geminis that were dropped through the reflections of the story. And I just thank my mentor, my guardian, one of my favorite people, for being with us on the podcast today. Make sure y'all tap in to the beautiful work that she's doing. Support her when you can, and we'll catch y'all in the next one. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Intuitive Wellness Experiment. May you continue to trust your rhythms, honor your intuition, and gather tools that liberate you. If you're feeling this journey, share it with someone you love or subscribe on Substack to stay connected. That's it for this episode. Keep listening to your body, keep trusting your path, and remember, your intuition is the revolution. Your wellness is sacred. Merci beaucoup and merci en pile. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time.